Hello friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Basics of Physics. In our atomic physics lecture series, today we will be discussing orbital magnetic moment along with spin magnetic moment and the basic terminologies which will be used for the discussion of the normal Zeeman effect and anomalous Zeeman effect. Those we will be discussing, and then in the end of the presentation we will be talking about the what is Larmor's precision and frequency of precision that we'll be deriving. Okay, so let us start with our today's session. Now in our earlier lectures we had seen what is Bohr's model. Also we have studied a Schrodinger's atomic model, but in this present lecture we'll be using a semi-classical model which was proposed by Neil Bohr, and that will be considering as a starting point, and based on that one we'll be discussing some points. In Bohr's model we had seen what is how electron moves inside a stationary orbit. We have calculated the radius of that Bohr's orbit. We have also calculated the velocity with which the electron is revolving around the nucleus. Okay, so all these terms we have discussed, and we have also discussed how the electron radiates the energy when it transmits from one electron energy level to another energy level. So that we had discussed in terms of a energy level diagram. Now in our today's session we'll be discussing will be considering a same classical picture of orbiting electron around the nucleus, and based on that one we'll be uh, proposing some mathematical expressions, and there we'll be discussing what is orbital magnetic moment, and based on that one we'll propose what is spin magnetic moment. So let us start. So consider that electron is revolving around the nucleus in circular orbit. Let us say v is the velocity of the electron in a Bohr's orbit of radius r. The charge on the electron is minus e, and we know that whenever charge is circulating around the nucleus, a circulation of charge constitutes a current. So in this case, the current will be developed associated with each electron. That current it will be given by I is equal to charge per unit time required to flow that charge. So current, if you want to tell, then I is equal to E by T. So now let us consider in periodic time capital T. Let us see, capital T is a periodic time. During the periodic time, what is the distance which electron is covering around the nucleus? That is nothing but the circumference of the circle, and we know that velocity of the object, it is given by the distance covered by the object per unit time required to cover that distance. So from this one, if I substitute the velocity symbol v, distance which is circumference of the circle, that will be 2 pi r, divided by time it which is the periodic time in this case. So v is equal to 2 pi r upon t. So from this one we can rearrange this equation for capital T. From this one we will get capital T is equal to 2 pi r upon v. So this is an expression for a periodic time of an electron which is revolving around the nucleus inside an atom. Now we know that current is nothing but the charge per unit time. So we have calculated the value of capital T. We will substitute this value of capital T in this expression. So it is E divided by 2 pi r upon V. I have just substituted this value of capital T in this expression, and if I take the reciprocal of the denominator, it will become E multiplied by V upon 2 pi r. So from this one we can tell that current which is associated with each electron having a charge E, velocity V, and orbiting in a radius of an orbit r, then its current associated with that, it will be EV upon 2 pi r. Let us call this as an equation 1 because we will be requiring this equation in the coming sessions. Now see, from electromagnetic theory we have studied, or you might be studying this electromagnetic theory, that current carrying loop produces a magnetic field. Any current carrying loop produces a magnetic field, and this magnetic field, it will be same at large distance from a loop as that of a magnetic dipole located at the center of the loop. Means whatever this electron which is revolving around the nucleus in a loop, it produces the magnetic field. This magnetic field will be same as the magnetic field due to a magnetic dipole which is situated at the center of the loop. Okay, so this is a standard problem which you can solve with the help of basics of basic electrodynamics theory. For a current I, let us say capital A is the area of the loop. Let us say small I is the current which is flowing through that loop, and capital A is the area. Then the orbital magnetic moment which is denoted by the symbol mu L associated with that loop, it will be perpendicular to the plane of orbit. Suppose this will be the plane of orbit, then it will be perpendicular to this one, because orbital magnetic moment is a vector quantity, and that magnetic dipole moment, it is given by a cross product of the current and area vector. So it is mu is equal to I into A. Let us call this as an equation number 2, and this, if I substitute this value of I, which is nothing but the EV upon 2 pi r in this expression, then you will get mu L is equal to EV upon 2 pi r as it is into capital A. Let us call this as an equation 3. Now in this expression, now we have to further simplify. Now we have to calculate the value of capital A, which is nothing but the area of the loop. Now what is area of the loop? As the electron is revolving around the nucleus in a circular orbit, the area of the loop, it is nothing but the pi r square. So if I substitute it in this equation, instead of A, I am just substituting pi r square. So this pi will get cancelled, this r and this square will get cancelled, so you just get EVR upon 2. So that is a magnetic moment associated with the orbital motion of an electron. Let us call this as an equation number 4. Now we know that the charge on the electron is minus E, that is the electron has a negative charge. So due to that one, we know that mu L is a vector quantity and this E is having a negative sign. So the direction of the magnetic moment, it will be anti-parallel to the orbital angular momentum. Now what is the orbital angular momentum? It is expressed in terms of L is equal to mvr. So instead of this one, I will just divide this equation mu L by this L. So it is mu L by L. It will be EVR upon 2 as it is divided by mvr. I have just divided the equation number 4 by the L, whose value is mvr. So if I further simplify this, I can rewrite this as 1 upon mvr into EVR upon 2. I can rewrite this as 1 upon mvr into EVR upon 2. This VR, it will get cancelled with this CVR, and you will end up with the equation mu L upon L is equal to E upon 2m. Now what is this? This expression, that is nothing but the expression for an orbital magnetic moment and divided by the orbital angular momentum. This expression in atomic physics generally written as mu L upon L, and this is equal to GL mu B upon H cross. This is the standard way to write down this equation. Now what is this GL? What is this mu L? This mu B, that is called as a Bohr magneton, whose value is EH cross upon 2m. It's a standard scientific constant which is used most of the times. It is called as a Bohr's magneton. So it is EH cross upon 2m, whose value is 0.927 into 10 raised to minus 3 ampere meter square, and GL is called as the orbital G factor. This GL is called as the orbital G factor. So mu L upon L is equal to GL mu B upon H cross. So this is the standard for equation. Now if I transfer this L from this side to this side, it will just multiply. So mu L is equal to minus GL mu B upon H cross into L. So this is an expression for an orbital magnetic moment due to the orbital motion of an electron. This is the orbital magnetic dipole moment associated with the orbital motion of an electron. Now this we have calculated this orbital magnetic moment, that is mu L upon L is equal to minus E upon 2m. We had seen it in the equation number 5. Now similar type of relation it can be derived from the advanced quantum mechanical treatment for a spin angular momentum as well, because we know that in addition to the orbital motion, electron has a spin motion as well. So that spin magnetic moment, it will be given by mu s is equal to minus E upon m into S. So let us call this as equation number 7. Now if I transfer this S from this side to this side, we can again rewrite this equation in terms of the standard form, that is mu s upon s. Mu s is the magnetic dipole moment due to a spin angular momentum, and this is nothing but the minus gs mu b upon h cross. Now let us call this as an equation number 1. Now if I compare the equation number 7 and equation number, if I compare the last two equations, that is mu s upon s is equal to minus E upon m with this equation, so what we will get, mu s upon s, it is same on the both side, so it will be minus E upon m is equal to minus gs mu b upon h cross. So from this one, if I substitute the value of mu b, which is a Bohr magneton, which is Eh cross upon 2m, so if I substitute this value, then it will be E upon m, because this negative, this cancel with this negative, so it will be E upon m, gs as it is, h cross as it is, and for this mu b you can just write down Eh cross upon 2m. Now if you further simplify this E upon m, it will cancel with this E upon m, these two will cancel, this E m, this E m, they will cancel with each other, and this h cross, it will cancel with this h cross. So on the left hand side you get 1, and the right hand side you will just get gs divided by 2. So from this one we can say that gs is equal to 2. So this is called as the spin g factor, or this gl or gs, that is called as a Landé g factor sometimes for spin part and the angular part, orbital angular momentum part. Now here you need to remember one point, that for CSIR NET or SET exam, sometimes the question will be asked, the electron is in s orbit, calculate its Landé g factor, or electron is in 1s orbit or 2s orbit, calculate the value of Landé g factor. Such a kind of question will be asked. Formula for this Landé g factor, we will be discussing that in the coming sessions. But let me tell you here that whenever such a kind of question will be there, and if the electron will be in a s orbital, then it has only the spin angular momentum. The s orbital is spherical in shape, it does not have an orbital angular momentum. So the orbital angular momentum for spherical shell, it will be 0. So you will be having only the spin angular momentum in that case, and the value of Landé g factor in that case, it will come out to be gs is equal to 2. That you have to remember, and always remember that this value of g, it will be always less than 2, and it will be, you have to remember. Now this orbital angular momentum, the quantum mechanical expression for this orbital angular momentum, it will be given by L is equal to L into L plus 1 under root L into L plus 1 h cross. So if I substitute this value in this expression of mu L, you will get a magnetic moment in this form, minus gl mu b upon h cross into root L into L plus 1 h cross. Now this h cross will cancel with this h cross, so you will be just having minus gl mu b into under root L into L plus 1. That is a final expression for an orbital magnetic dipole moment. Now similarly, you can have the magnetic moment for a spin part, it will be written as minus gs mu b upon h cross into s. We know that spin angular momentum, it is nothing but it is ms into h cross. So if you further simplify this spin angular momentum, it will be written as mu s is equal to minus gs mu b into ms, where ms is the spin quantum, magnetic spin quantum number or magnetic quantum number, and in this equation number 9, this L is nothing but it is a orbital quantum number. Now here in the both the equations, you can, in equation of mu L and mu s, you can see over here that the minus sign in the right hand side of this equation represents that this vector mu l, this vector mu s, they are anti-parallel to the angular momentum, that is L, or angular momentum S. So this mu L is anti-parallel to L, mu S is anti-parallel to S. We'll just see this in the animation in the coming slides. Now see, when such an atom it will be placed in a magnetic field, the magnetic dipole moment mu L, when such a kind of an atom it is placed in a magnetic field or externally applied magnetic field will be there B, then this magnetic dipole moment tend to align in the direction of the applied magnetic field due to the torque which that field will be exerting, because we know that the torque exerted by the magnetic field on a magnetic dipole it will be given by torque is equal to mu L cross B. The orient, and due to that one, what happens if the externally applied magnetic field does not provide that much of energy, so this dipole moment it will not align exactly along the direction of the applied magnetic field. In such a case, the magnetic energy associated with the orientation of this uh, orientation associated with the torque, it will be given by minus mu L dot B bar. So it is minus mu L dot B into cos theta, where theta is the angle between the mu L and B. So through this energy we can say that if this energy will be very small, dipole cannot turn unless this exactly this much amount of energy it will be provided to the dipole. So if there is no way for system consisting of magnetic dipole mu L in a magnetic field of B, then to dissipate the energy, the orientation potential energy delta E must remains constant. Okay, so if this will be there, then we can write down the equation of motion for such an case, because the torque exerted on this one it will be given by mu L cross B, and we know the value of mu L is nothing but the minus E upon 2m into L cross B. So it is the torque exerted on the electron or magnetic dipole. So it is torque is equal to minus E upon 2L L cross B. Now here in this case you can see that orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum, instead of aligning in the direction of the field, they precess along the along a cone around the direction of the applied magnetic field. From this one we know that from the Newton's second law we know that torque is nothing but the rate of change of angular momentum. So if I substitute it in this equation number 11, so torque is nothing but the dl by dt. We can substitute it in this equation, it will be minus E upon 2m L bar cross B bar. So this first term is nothing but the mu L, so it is mu L cross B. Now as we know that angular momentum is always a constant of motion, so the magnitude of angular momentum has to remain constant and its direction must change to produce the required change in the angular momentum, because being a vector quantity, this angular momentum it will have a magnitude as well as the direction. So this angular momentum, its magnitude will remain constant, but it will precess in this direction, so its direction will change along this direction. So it will be the theta which will be changing every time. Now the change in angular momentum, let us say dl is the change in angular momentum. This change in angular momentum requires the precession of the vector L about the magnetic field, applied magnetic field, and this precision of the angular momentum vector, that is called as the Larmor's precision. Here you can see this is the, if this is the angular momentum vector, then the magnetic dipole moment it will be oppositely directed, because for an electron the charge on the electron it is minus E, so the magnetic moment which is minus E upon 2m, so it will be always exactly opposite to the direction of the applied direction of the angular momentum, orbital angular momentum. So if that angular momentum it will be in the upward direction in this fashion, then orbital magnetic moment it will be in the downward direction. Now during the time delta, during the time dt, let us say dl is the change in angular momentum. From this figure we can just, if I consider this triangle of side L sin theta delta L or dl having an angle delta phi or d phi. If I use the normal trigonometry, sin theta is equal to opposite upon hypotenuse. So from this one I can calculate dl is equal to L sin theta into d phi. So from this one you can write down d phi is equal to this L sin theta. If I transfer from this side to this side it will get divided. So it is 1 upon L sin theta into dl, and we know that the angular frequency it is nothing but the d phi by dt. How many revolutions are that orbital angular momentum is taking, how many times it is rotating, that is omega L is equal to d phi by dt, which is nothing but the 1 upon L sin theta. Now dl by dt, so I am just dividing this phi term by the dt. So on the right hand side also I am dividing dl by dt. So but we know that dl by dt is nothing but the mu L cross b. So if I substitute it in this equation, we will get omega L is equal to 1 upon L sin theta into mu L cross b. Now we know that this magnetic field and orbital dipole moment, they are making a certain angle. So let us say they are making an angle theta. So in such a case we can use the normal definition of a vector product. Suppose a bar is a vector, b bar is another vector, both are making an angle theta with each other. Then a bar cross b bar is nothing but the ab sin theta into n cap. In this case, yeah, we are just considering the magnitude, so it is omega L is equal to, instead of mu L cross b, we are writing over here mu L b sin theta. Now from this one, this sin theta it will cancel with this sin theta, so we will end up with the equation mu L b upon L. So that is nothing but the called as the orbital angular frequency or frequency of a Larmor's precision. From this one we can just substitute the value of mu L, which is nothing but the EB upon E upon 2m into L. So mu L upon L it will be nothing, only E upon 2m. So you have a value of omega L, that is nothing but the EB upon 2m. So this phenomena of precession of a orbital angular momentum vector along the direction of the field, that phenomenon is nothing but it is called as the Larmor's precision, and omega L is called as the Larmor's frequency. This the precision angular frequency of mu L about b, it can be written in this form: omega L is equal to GL mu b upon H cross. So that is an expression for an Larmor's precisional frequency. That's it for this today's session. I hope you have enjoyed the today's session. If you have any doubts, you can comment in the comment section. If you have liked the video, I request all you people to please hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to our channel Basics of Physics, I request all you people to please subscribe our channel. That's it for the today's session. We'll stop here for today's lecture. Thank you.